Welcome viewers. Today I am there to discuss Lady Macbeth's character and role in the tragedy of Macbeth. Please listen carefully for the next 12 minutes or so to have a fair idea of the topic. I'm also going to provide you the slides of my analysis, and if you write them down with proper sequence, it will be the complete answer and analysis of the character of Lady Macbeth. So let's start. Stay tuned. Lady Macbeth is possibly Shakespeare's most famous and vivid female character. Everyone, whether they have read or seen the play tragedy of Macbeth, has a view of her. She is generally depicted in the popular mind as the epitome of evil, and images of her appear over and over again in several cultures. She is the key figure to the play, creating the rising action for the main character and building tension in the reader. Her evilness is reflected through her ambition, cruelty, and manipulation. She has some of the most bloodthirsty lines in Shakespeare, but the response she gets from the male characters suggests that she is a young, sexually attractive woman, and indeed, in her effort to influence Macbeth, she uses every method at her disposal, including the employment of her sexual charms. Now, dear viewers, let's move to the second slide. It's all about Lady Macbeth and her ambitions. Lady Macbeth is a way more ambitious than Macbeth. She thinks of her husband as a man who desires power but too weak to achieve his goals. So she takes matters in her hands. Even if the path is something unstable based on belief, as soon as it lies the chance in front of her to make her husband more powerful, she grabs it, as though she was subconsciously waiting for a sign to strike down. She knows that if her husband's power increases, so will hers.
This present slide tells us all about the first appearance of Lady Macbeth in the play. At her first appearance on the stage, in Scene 5, Act 1, she invoked the aid of the spirits for changing her sex and inject cruelty in her body and take out my milk for girl. Come, unsex me here. Make thick my blood, come to my woman's breasts, and take my milk for girl. Unsexed by her own will, Lady Macbeth is now no longer a conventional lady, because she has refused to behave as dutifully as her society suggests she should. She seems to become an inhuman creature, a dark parody of femaleness whose blood is too thick and clotted for menstrual fertility, and whose maternal milk is bitter, dangerous, galling. In unsexing herself, she almost appears to have dehumanized herself and stepped out of nature, that is, out of the natural order of things, in which the milk of human kindness nurtures moral feeling. In fact, as a diabolical creature, Lady Macbeth has aliened herself with the three rich sisters whose violation of sexual norms you should be woman, says Banquet, and yet your bread forbid me to interpret that you are so, proclaims their witchcraft.
In this present slide, my dear friends, I am trying to let you know that Lady Macbeth did not or could not anticipate the grave consequences of her deed. It is to be noted that all these were unnatural and contrary to what is considered human. Again, in scene 2, act 2, she rebuked her husband and took the cleaning of the blood of the king, the evidence of murder, too lightly. Go, get some water and wash this filthy witness from your hand. Unlike her husband, she did not anticipate the grave consequences that would follow the deed. Even she chided her husband there for being infirm of purpose.
Now it is very important to note Lady Macbeth's role and contribution in the banquet scene. But the dramatic irony becomes most effective in Act 3, Scene 4, when the audience watched the blood ghost of Banquet enter the stage and sit at Macbeth's appointed chair. And Macbeth, unaware of its presence, wishes, "Would the graced person of our Banquet present?" As he becomes aware of its presence, the whole scheme goes awry for Macbeth. Though the queen tries hard to stop the involuntary confessions, the situation goes beyond her control. Here the audience can notice that the lady is not the kind of stuff now as she had been before while goading Macbeth into murdering the king. Though she does not reflect upon herself, it can be said that right from this point, the weakening of her character begins. Though she succeeds in giving the correct psychological explanations behind her husband's hallucinations. This is the very painting of your fear. The strange will very soon infect her and bring in her nemesis. The most important scene that shows Lady Macbeth's transformation is the sleepwalking scene. Now look at the present slide, friends. The scene opens with a doctor of physics questioning a waiting gentlewoman about Lady Macbeth's special kind of ailment. From her account, the doctor and the audience know that since Macbeth's departure into the battlefield, Lady Macbeth has become a somnambulist. In this scene, Lady Macbeth has been obsessed particularly with the spot of blood in her hands. It becomes a metaphor of crime and guilt. We hear her to say, "Yet who would have thought the old man have had so much blood in him?" Meaning the consequence of the act. This logical, but the next moment she adds, "You may all," with the starting, referring to Macbeth's abnormal behavior seeing Banquet's ghost. This is, however, a past assurance which has no power of recovery now, for she has understood the most tragic fact of her life, that here is the smell of blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Lady Macbeth's malady during the sleepwalking scene. The doctor realizes the nature of her malady and it is beyond his practice. The only remedy he can suggest for her is death. Lady Macbeth, however, still tries to employ her defense mechanism. Wash your hand, Banquet's favorite. He cannot come out on his grave. It is ironical that even from his grave, Banquet influences their fate. Finally, the queen, in her hallucination, hears a knocking at the gate, strongly reminding the audience or reader knocking at the gate in the Potter scene, Act 2, Scene 3, where the Potter imagines himself keeping the gate of hell. Now, the reference to the knocking seems to be clear. She is suffering from the fear of damnation in hell, as she understands that the past actions cannot be recovered. She meekly surrenders to her fate. What's done cannot be undone. As a man of science, the doctor provides the final commentary on the inevitability of the cause-effect relation. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles. Infected minds do their deep pillows will discharge their secrets. Dear viewers, now we reach to the conclusion of our discussion today. Finally, Lady Macbeth emerges as a human being of flesh and blood, as opposed to her witch-like personality in the earlier scenes. And this is nowhere clearer than in her remorseful remembrance. The Thane of Hefe had a wife. Where is she now? Her tribulations anticipate the ensuing catastrophe and do justice to the Aristotelian theory of catharsis, that the tragic spectacle evokes pity and fear in the audience. Dear viewers, I hope this lecture will prove itself useful and purposeful. Thank you to listen it. If you find this lecture and its content helpful in any way, please subscribe our channel and like and share the video. Don't forget to ring the bell icon for the notifications of our coming uploads. Have a good day.